Willow Creek was the kind of town where life moved slowly. The general store still wrote receipts by hand, children biked freely down Main Street, and the hospital was as much a gathering place as it was a medical facility. Among the staff there, Nurse Clara Hastings stood out. At 34, she had built a reputation for compassion and calm under pressure. Patients remembered her soothing presence, colleagues admired her discipline, and her neighbors trusted her implicitly. On October 12th, a cold rain fell across Willow Creek. Clara never showed up for her midnight shift. By morning, her absence had spread through the hospital halls like wildfire. Concerned coworkers called her cell phone repeatedly. It went straight to voicemail. When a neighbor checked her cottage, the sight only deepened the mystery. Clara's car sat neatly in the driveway, her purse and keys were inside, and her front door was locked from the outside. It was as if she had stepped out of her life and never returned. In a community where crime rarely escalated beyond petty theft, Clara's disappearance was seismic. Candlelight vigils were held outside the hospital. Local churches prayed for her safe return. Parents tightened curfews, and the sheriff's office fielded panicked calls daily. Everyone clung to the hope that Clara had simply run away to escape stress. But those closest to her knew better. She loved her work, and she loved Willow Creek. The case drew the attention of state investigators and eventually national outlets. Reporters swarmed the little town, eager to cover the story of the beloved small-town nurse who had mysteriously vanished. For Willow Creek, the media spotlight only intensified the unease. Beneath the town's outward unity, suspicions grew, and quiet whispers suggested Clara's life might not have been as simple as it appeared. The investigation began with the most obvious theory: a random abduction. Search dogs combed the dense pine forests. Volunteers scoured fields and barns. Detectives questioned drifters passing through on freight trains. The sheriff even warned residents to stay vigilant, hinting at a predator on the loose. But the deeper detectives looked, the less sense the theory made. There were no signs of forced entry at Clara's home. No defensive wounds, no frantic calls to 911, no reports of struggle. Then her phone records came back, and the picture began to shift. Dozens of late-night calls had been made to one number: Thomas Avery, a paramedic at the very hospital where Clara worked. Married with 2 children, Avery was a respected member of the community. When confronted, he admitted to an affair with Clara but insisted it was just emotional support, and claimed he had ended it weeks before. His wife provided an alibi, saying he was at home the night Clara disappeared. Still, detectives noted that Clara's final text, sent shortly after midnight, was to Avery, "We can't keep living in the shadows." While Avery remained under suspicion, investigators turned their focus closer to home. Clara's best friend, Evelyn Marsh, had been the first to report her missing. Evelyn worked alongside Clara as a nurse and was often seen at her side. At first, Evelyn seemed the epitome of concern, organizing vigils and urging police to keep searching. But under repeated questioning, detectives noticed her story kept changing. Sometimes Clara was happy and planning a vacation. Other times she was anxious, almost paranoid, about a secret. When pressed, Evelyn revealed she had developed strong feelings for Clara over the years. She claimed Clara never reciprocated but admitted she had grown resentful of Avery. Detectives began to wonder if jealousy could be a motive. Their suspicions were confirmed when, during a search of Evelyn's home, they opened the garage freezer. Beneath a stack of frozen casseroles lay a bundle of fabric, Clara's hospital scrubs, stained with blood. Though partially scrubbed clean, DNA testing confirmed it belonged to Clara. Confronted with the evidence, Evelyn eventually broke. She confessed that Clara had come to her house on the night of her disappearance. Clara had confided that she planned to go public with her relationship with Avery, even if it meant scandal and leaving Willow Creek behind. Evelyn, who had loved Clara in silence for years, felt her slipping away for good. "I just wanted her to stay," Evelyn admitted in her taped confession. What began as an emotional plea escalated into a violent confrontation. In a fit of rage and desperation, Evelyn struck Clara. When Clara fell silent, Evelyn panicked. She hid the evidence, cleaned the scene, and later buried Clara's body in the marshlands where the two women had often walked after long shifts at the hospital. The truth was more devastating than anyone expected. The town had feared a stranger lurking in the woods. Instead, the danger had come from within Clara's closest circle. Weeks later, Clara's body was recovered from a shallow grave near the marshes. The discovery broke the community. For the nurses and doctors at Willow Creek Hospital, it was unthinkable. One of their own had taken the life of another. At trial, Evelyn's demeanor swung between sobbing apologies and icy silence. The jury found her guilty of second-degree murder, sentencing her to life in prison. Thomas Avery, though never charged, left town in disgrace, divorced and shunned by the community. To this day, Clara Hastings' memory lingers in Willow Creek. Her cottage sits abandoned, ivy creeping up the porch railings. At the hospital, a framed photo of Clara smiling in her scrubs hangs on the corridor wall, a reminder of the woman who dedicated her life to healing others, only to be undone by the destructive force of love, twisted into obsession. As Sheriff Wallace said in his closing remarks to the press, "We looked for a monster in the shadows, but in the end, the truth was harder to accept. Sometimes the greatest danger isn't from a stranger. It's from the people we think we know best."